right, we'd like to call this meeting of the West Allis West Milwaukee School District to order, please. If we could stand for the pledge, and Mr. Schultz, would you please lead us?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. If we could do the roll, please.
Yes. Mr. Ustruck is excused. Mr. Keller.
Here.
Mr. Schultz.
Present.
Mr. Sikkich.
Present.
Mr. Lee.
Here.
Mr. Bailey.
Present.
Ms. Klug. Here. Mrs. Justum. Here. And President Emmons.
Here. Proper notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the open meeting laws of the state of Wisconsin. Do we have any additions or modifications to tonight's agenda?
I have nothing.
We will then move into public comments. And we have no public comments, so we'll then move on to item 7, our superintendent's report.
Great, thank you. And we will start with 7.1. It is the report from the West Allis Central High School student representatives. So if you'll introduce yourselves to the board and share your report.
Good evening. I'm Holden Skills.
And I'm Nora. We're both Nora Gossetti. We're both seniors at West Allis Central, and we're here with your monthly update at Central.
The boys basketball team had an amazing run and qualified for the WIAA State Basketball Championship. Their proud season ended with a 60-62 overtime loss in the state semifinals versus Sun Prairie. The entire Bulldog community could not be more proud of the support given to the boys basketball team. We saw all stakeholder groups come together to support the Bulldogs in their run. It included many staff members, students, families, and community members from all across West Allis and the district. A special thanks to all of our school board members here who were in attendance or able to watch on TV. All of our spring sports teams are now underway with practices, with some games played and track meets held. Please join us. I'm wishing for a favorable spring with the weather. We look forward to updating you on the success of our track and field, golf, boys tennis, girls soccer, softball, and baseball teams.
Black History Celebration. On the evening of February 27th, WAC hosted our first Black History Program celebration. Central students helped set up and greet our guests at the door. Senior Aniana Batten served as MC, and sophomore Zoe King delivered spoken words to the audience. The event also included a keynote speech by Dr. Florence Johnson, who is the senior lecturer in the Department of Educational Policy and Community Students at UW-Milwaukee, and a performance by Zalat African Drum and Dance Company. In addition, Vanessa Mixon provided an overview of Ghana and its culture, and Brittany Tolles from the Southwest Key Youth Mentor Program talked about the power of mentors for today's youth, as well as the mentoring program Southwest Key is launching this spring at Central. At the event, the walls were adorned with biographies and projects submitted by Central students, highlighting prominent African Americans and Black history. The event culminated with a great spread of food for the soul provided by students, family, and staff. A super huge thank you to Ms. Boyd for having the vision and inspiration to plan and organize the event, and to all of the supporting students, parents, staff, and Metro Milwaukee community members who made the event a success.
Hill's production of Cinderella took place the first weekend of March. Though the musical was at Nathan Hill High School, Central students participated in the musical in various roles, including that of Cinderella. The musical was a great success, and it was wonderful to see the cooperation and collaboration between the two high schools. Central hosted the district solo and ensemble competition on Saturday. Students from all over the district performed both vocal and instrumental pieces. More than 24 of our students are headed to state in solo and ensemble pieces. We are proud of all the hard work our Central and district students put into preparing and performing these songs.
On Saturday, Central held its first ever March Mad Dance. This dance helped kick off March Madness festivities at Central. The dance was special because it was a donor dance. Students who purchased tickets were able to choose which Central program or sport they would like to support, and half of the ticket price was donated to that organization. We're excited to see this event held in years to come. In early March, Best Buddies celebrated the annual Spread the Word to End the Word campaign. This campaign teaches people about the harm the word retard or retarded causes to those with and without disabilities. For our chapter, we sold shirts. Shout out to all the teachers and students who purchased a shirt for this great cause. In addition, we made and sold puppy chow and had students and staff sign the letters of respect, pledging to never again use the R word.
On Fat Tuesday, the world language students celebrated Mardi Gras, a.k.a. Fasching, a.k.a. Carnival. Any language you say it in meant a fun cultural event for the world language students. From mask making to pinata destruction to pancakes and donuts, students kept the entire event moving. Special thanks to Frau Gable for organizing the event and Acevedo and Ortiz for helping it. Central's AVID program accepted its class of 2023 in March. 28 students from all three district intermediate schools received acceptance letters from Central's Avid director, Ken Kleinowski, welcoming them to the Avid family. Students in the Avid elective will spend their entire high school careers in Avid, preparing for college and real-world readiness by learning organization and collaboration skills, as well as exploring everything college.
Now, on to upcoming events at Central. March Madness is in full swing this week at Central. Dozens of basketball teams will compete for a chance to win and play the teachers. The fun continues for everyone at Central with 3-point contests, a dunk contest, and Pop-A-Shot. If you're free Friday afternoon, come check out the big event from 1 to 3 p.m. Saturday begins spring break for our Bulldogs. We hope that everyone enjoys the time off and relaxes and recharges for the last quarter of the 2018-2019 school year.
Wonderful. Any comments, feedback?
Thank
Gary?
you. Yeah, I just say I had a chance to volunteer in the concession stand on Saturday during solo ensembles. That's where the kids all come in to practice. And it was great to see, I mean, everywhere from elementary school, intermediate, and up, just seeing, you could tell how hard they've been working. And it was really great. And I personally would like to thank, and maybe in the community thank, past and present board members, Dr. Lexman and staff, who worked through some very difficult financial times to make sure our music and art programs could continue in the future. And it really showed. Those kids really worked hard, and it was just a great experience to see that.
Good, thank you. All right, thank you guys. Have a wonderful spring break. Be safe. We'll see you afterward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we will go on to 7.2. Our school showcase this evening is Shared Journeys. I see Lisa Colas, if you'll come up and join us.
Well, good evening.
Good evening.
Thanks so much for having us here this evening. We're just so proud to be here and be able to share about our school and something that we're very proud of. My name is Lisa Cola. I'm the teacher, dean, and program facilitator for Shared Journeys. And before I get started, I just really want to thank all of you for the work that you do all of the time to support not only myself, but our school. I grew up here, born and raised here, went to school here, and spent my entire 29 years here working for West Dallas West Monkey School District, and I have to say I'm very proud and grateful. So I have a wonderful student with me here tonight that is going to go along and help share. Her name is Danielle Chebin, and I will let her introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Danielle Chebin, and I've been a student at Shared Journeys for the past 4 years. I have a daughter, and her name is Misha. Well, that's what we call her anyway. And she attends the Shared Journeys Infant Lab downstairs, right below our classroom, and she attends there every day while I'm at school and going to work.
So we'll get started. This is a PowerPoint that we created together as a school, so we'll get started. We have many celebrations this year. This year has been something to definitely remember. We had a successful move over the summer, moved from our old location to our new location, which is so beautiful and much bigger, much more conducive for learning. We had a wonderful ribbon cutting ceremony. Mayor Devine was there. We had over 350 people attend that evening's event for our community open house. We have been continuing to work on increasing our community partnerships, And this year, we met a long-term goal of having our own on-site childcare, the Shared Journeys Infant Lab. This is something we've been planning for a really long time, and it is fully grant-funded. We're working as a team with the West Dallas Health Department to be a breastfeeding-friendly site with the infant lab, so there's a lot of different things we have to do in order to be considered that. We received grant funding from the Office of Adolescent Health, so that is called our Inspire Grant, and that is what funds a lot of our school as well. There was a Journal Sentinel article that was written in December about how Shared Journeys supports students through academic and parenting success. I don't know if any of you saw that. And then we also were featured on PBS on a channel called 1036 about the life of a teen parent and what it's really like. And that, I was super impressed, and Danny was a big part of that. They followed us actually for 3 days for filming throughout the entire day into Danny's evening, so it was wonderful. And all of our seniors are on track to graduate, and they all have post-secondary plans. So one of the things that we're also very proud of is our panorama growth. Because we have a number of students that we have over and over again, we're really able to look at things how the students feel and then see themselves as students in our school, and we're able to help them improve in those areas. And one of the areas that we really focused on was emotional regulation, because we were a little bit concerned by that and confused because we thought we were doing so many things in our school to help the students be able to regulate their emotions. And after talking with them and just figuring out a little bit of what we needed to do, we implemented some more mindfulness training, and this time we took a tweak on it, and we had the students learn through children's literature the different mindfulness strategies, and then they're able to take those books home and use them with their own child to teach their child those mindfulness strategies. And that definitely helped improve their emotional regulation. We do an assessment called the AAPI-2. It's the Adult Adolescent Parenting Inventory. And again, the highest score that you can get is a 10 on this inventory. And it really tells you the current parenting beliefs and practices that the students have. Students that are receiving 1 through 3, it's a pretty big concern, and we have a lot of things that we need to do to help them improve in their strategies as a parent. But our students are testing so high and assessing so high because many of them, like Danny, have been with us for a very long time. So you can see that they made growth and gains since the beginning of the year until mid-year, and then we'll do a third assessment in spring for that one. And then I just really love this slide because it really shows how all of these different people and groups and organizations are working together to help support our youngest parents in the community. So we have the Shared Journeys Vision, Aurora West Dallas, who is a huge part of our school, and then the West Dallas West Milwaukee Vision, our Shared Journeys students, staff, and families in the middle, with the community wrapping their arms around us, which they certainly do, to meet our vision of academic and parenting success. So when you look at a comparison nationwide, the graduation rate is 51% for teen parents who are not receiving any type of support. Our school, it's 100%. For breastfeeding, this is all parents in Wisconsin. 83% of the females initiate that, where at Shared Journeys, 100% initiate, at least for a little while. And then living in poverty nationwide, 48%. And at Shared Journeys, it's 71%. But you can see that with all of these things working together, we're certainly able to help these students to become really great citizens in our community and excellent parents, and go on to do great things in their lives. As a leadership team, you know that we have been researching and learning with a book called What Schools Could Be. And I was really excited to read that book because after reading it, I found that Shared Journeys is doing many of these things already, and it just helped me to think of more ideas that we can work with our team to even keep growing and getting better all the time. And then, of course, we've been working with our deeper learning competencies, and this is where the students put together the next portion of what they feel they're learning and doing in each of those competencies.
Okay, so for content mastery, at Shared Journeys, we're constantly learning about things that we can apply to the real world. We set for ourselves personal, academic, and social goals and review them at least quarterly, if not sooner. We learn positive parenting skills that help us cope with our children outside of school. In all of our classes, we learn how to be resilient through reading and discussing, along with how to apply it to our personal lives and even at our jobs and careers. For an example, we learn mindfulness, lessons for ourselves so we can teach them to our child. We use books for children and then share them with our own child. So I feel like this year, with the mindfulness and the children's books, I do take those books home, and it's really nice with having, I have a toddler now, she's almost 3, so you can kind of see where that's going. Lots of tantrums and all. So I think reading those books and just being able to show her that mommy's doing it so you can do it too, it's really nice, something that she can look up to. The skills that we are learning are helping us be successful when we attend post-secondary training, and we take that very seriously. We do achieve ACT question of the day, Google Classroom, journaling, Grammar 101, career cruising, group work, and coursework, and we apply for college, the FAFSA, and are helped step-by-step to be set for post-secondary training. So I feel like without that help, I'm not going to lie, we probably would just be kind of lost, because it is a lot of stuff. So, yeah. And these are just some examples how we do that. So we got the chance for the first time this year to go to a garden, and we learned how to grow our own food, and then we had some samples. We picked them and all the veggies and stuff like that, and then here we have 2 of our students, and Mrs. Cola actually got us some crock pots this year, so we're kind of learning how to healthy cook in our crock pots. But yeah, so that's an example there. And then the last picture is infant massage. We do it almost every year, so it's a little hard to forget how to do it. And yeah, it's very calming for not only us, but our children as well. Effective communication. Here at Shared Journeys, we learn how to communicate and listen effectively. We are involved in lessons that involve real-world experiences, field trip speakers to present to us, and we have speakers to present to us, which allows us to always have great discussions. It is a daily assignment of ours to journal with Mrs. Cola. We keep her updated about the things that are going on in our lives, or how we're feeling that day, or discussing lessons learned in class. It is two-way. It is a two-way communication, and we are learning not only English skills, but parenting and life skills as well. We did do the documentary that Mrs. Cola and mentioned before. We had that going on September 20th. That's when it came out. Yeah, that was it seems like a long time ago. In our English class, we read personal stories about other teens and their battles to achieve resilience. We share about our own experiences and how to conquer them in practical but effective ways while receiving advice from peers. So I do think that's very helpful that we're able to talk to each other, because I feel like being a teen parent is already difficult enough, but to be able to sit around a table and just speak to our peers about what we're going through, 9 times out of 10 they're going through that, or they already went through that. So it's really nice to be able to hear advice that we might be able to take, and that helps us make our decisions, and they're pretty good because of all the things that we learn every day.
One of the things I want to mention too is that on April 11th, if any of you are available at Central High School, we're going to be doing our yearly teen panel, talking about the reality of a teen parent, the entire freshman class. So I'd love to have you come to that. I believe it's at 9:40. So, and that usually goes till about 10:30.
And then, yeah, just some pictures of us discussing. We are discussing all the time. We are talking all the time, and not just talking about what we did last night. It's more like, this is what's going on in my life, or my life sucks, or something, honestly. And we're getting advice from each other, we're talking to each other, and we're helping each other through it. Critical thinking and problem solving. We read articles and analyze them together as a group. A favorite is analyzing case studies. We are involved in a financial literacy class which educates us about properly budgeting and living in a way that is considered lean and mean, which teaches us to be able to stretch our money and save it for unexpected events, college, retirement, housing, and other things of that sort. We learn how to build positive relationships with our families, significant others, or the father, mother of our child. Sometimes we have to make challenging, quick decisions like deciding where will we live and how to find food or transportation. We are asked, how do you think we can solve this, or what ideas do you have, to come to the most reasonable answer. We are introduced to many new ideas that maybe seem as controversial and have respectful debates about our own thoughts on the subject. We are then able to view things from varying perspectives, and create our own opinions. This permits students to be more interactive in lessons instead of being completely influenced by anyone, including the teacher. We listen to each other's situations and give each other advice without judging. We keep things confidential about acknowledging that these things are not our stories to tell. Open discussions and even private discussions promote learning all the time. So yeah, just more examples of us just being able to talk to each other. The lean and mean theory comes from our financial literacy instructor, Miss Pam. She comes every year, and I've been there the longest, I believe. So I get it every year, and it's honestly, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I'm kind of like, oh man, again. But I like it because I get it sticks to my head. I need it the most this year, especially. I'm living on my own, and I have a job, and I just want to spend my money sometimes. And she kind of helps and reminds me, like, you got to save, think about the bigger picture. And then, yeah, Mrs. Cole is the one that kind of stuck to me, that not our stories to tell. I'm a teenager, so it wasn't always this way. You know, we gossip, we talk to everybody, and, share what other people say. But honestly, as I've been with her throughout the years, the not our story to tell has stuck with me because students from the previous years that are older than me even come to me all the time with these things that they wouldn't tell anybody. And I'm very shocked myself because I'm just like, wow, little old me, why do you want to come to me for advice? But they come to me because I was able to show them throughout the years that I am very confidential, and as well as, not judging each other as well. And that's our Miss Pam there, teaching us. And yeah, just in our class, all our classes, we're all very focused all the time, just trying to get our work done. We're not there to gossip. We're not there to start drama. We're there to do our work and help each other. And then collaboration. Some students join a program called Peers with Purpose. I did. Students are trained to discuss with middle school students throughout the district about the negative effects of alcohol and drugs. Students have the ability to collaborate on our school yearbook and work together to get it done with quality by a particular deadline. We go on field trips together as a class to find different places and resources we can seek for our children, families, and lives. We volunteer at Mitchell Manor Nursing Home and learn and grow with the residents. We always are working on projects to learn and grow with each other. Our school is so exciting with new things happening each day. We feel greatly included in everything because every single one of our voices are heard. Shared Journeys is a college-like atmosphere. We have a lot of independence but tend to naturally contribute as a team. We have a lot of faith in each other to guide us in the right direction. We have a blog that we all share our thoughts on a weekly basis. I did have the pleasure of joining the Peers with Purpose. I did it last year. This year it just hasn't worked out with our schedules. As seniors, it's a lot of scholarships, it's a lot of work, so we're just kind of trying to focus on that. But of course, if we have time, because it's not over yet, we would totally love to keep it going and keep going to these trainings and talk to these students. It was really nice, because we also get to talk to them about like what it's like in high school a little bit too. And then nursing homes, we go to there every year, once a month I believe. That's really life-changing because we don't get to talk to, I've never talked to a lot of older people, and they're really funny, so it's a great experience. And that's just some presentations that we do. So far on the right, where it says Schoolhouse Rock, that was last year, I believe, and we volunteered, or we went to Central High School, and we talked to them about, teen pregnancies. Yes. And then Amber and I in the middle, and we did a presentation last year, I believe, with Mrs. Cola. So, yeah.
And then on the end is just our senior demonstration.
We do demonstrations, yes. And then self-directed learning. Here at Shared Journeys, often a question is posed, and then we research and share out our findings. There is a choice in all we do. Investigation is always encouraged. We all learn something new daily. The staff does not do the learning for us. We do it together. We have worked together to design t-shirts for our community presentation that we also create as a team and presentations for the community. We are currently taking on a huge collaboration project. We are creating a coffee kiosk within our school. We have named the coffee house the 2019 and are working with architects, construction experts, and plumber, and have a design team, research team, budget team, and communications team. We are supported into learning how to manage many adult things such as paying bills, making doctor's appointments, dealing with insurance, and applying to college. We set quarterly goals and work to reach those goals. Assignments are placed in the Google Classroom, and we can work on this anytime, anywhere. Yeah. we have the project, the coffee house project. Mrs. Cola originally presented this to us and just kind of talked about it to us. That's what I like about Shared Journeys. She's able to come to us, and she's not just telling us what to do. We're able to kind of put our input on it and tell her what we think about it. And this is the biggest project I think we've done.
It's a big one.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of fun, though.
And it has been a lot of fun. That's why we kind of named it the 2019, because it's just a group of us that have been with Mrs. Cola for many years, and now we're all leaving at once. We're all seniors. So although it makes us sad, we are leaving a little mark on the coffee house. And that's just us. Again, like I said, it's very, like, we all do our own things. It's very rare where our students, there's more than one person doing the same exact thing, like the same schedule. I have my own schedule. One of my good friends has her own schedule. My other one has so many different schedules. We're all around our classroom just focusing on our work because we really want to get it done. We love each other. We love talking. We love collaborating. But we really just want to get our work done so that we're able to accomplish more things and get more things done.
I do feel bad for a substitute with all the different schedules and individual
Yeah.
needs being met, so that gets a little wild, but we make it work.
Yeah, we do. Academic mindset, we learn from real world experiences as we head out of our school, often into the community. We work to apply what we learn. For example, heading to Victory Garden to learn about gardening and harvesting the crops. After that, we use what we harvested to make spring rolls, as well as how to use our WIC cards at the farmer's market. A healthy body will support our learning. Being surrounded by people who are like us in an off-site location helps and motivates us to support one another in our individual parenting and educational journey. We can all relate to each other as well. Shared Journeys makes all of us want to be at school and gain knowledge. That is proven by our daily attendance and graduation rates. We know that we need to find our own path, not only for ourselves, but for our child. We couldn't ask for a better place to learn and grow. So, yeah, Shared Journeys is just an amazing place to be, honestly. We do feed each other with knowledge, and it's just a wonderful place to be. And we get to do these amazing things together, like go to the farmer's market every year, which is awesome, because we get the task of, with the ingredients that we bought, we get to make, a dinner and show Mrs.
Sure.
Cola or something like that. And then the Victory Garden, again, it was just a really wonderful experience of learning how to grow your own veggies, because, of course, we want to be healthy for our children.
Thank you. That was awesome. And all of those slides were created by a number of students in the classroom, and you'll see them in just a moment because they can see here they were either working or taking care of their child. So, we're just really grateful for the number of people that came out to help this summer. I have to say it was by far my most difficult summer ever. We, had to move everything from our site on 93rd, or 91st, all the way over to Shared Journeys, and everything that we ordered from the state grant came in boxes and it had to be assembled. And so I would look around midsummer and think, oh, wow, is this really going to be ready? But it was really ready. So many people jumped in. We had Aurora West Alice there, the Rotary, Coles Corporate, Apostle Presbyterian, KinderCare, all there helping out, and all the students were coming in over the summer when they had time and helping as well. So it did come together. We're just so glad that all of you support us, and that, the students are able to have lifelong learning as well as their children, because their children oftentimes end up right back in our schools, and so they are definitely ready and prepared. So these are just a couple more pictures, a new year, new Shared Journeys. We're just so fortunate to have such a great staff and a great group of students to be working with every single day. So here's a video that actually Danny created with the students. And I love this because we do a lot of videos like this. They're just kind of off the cuff and how do you feel? And so Danny interviewed a few students, and we can find out what they have to say. Do we have speakers? It does not have speakers, okay.
Brandon doesn't have the speakers out.
We'll see where that is.
Destiny,
Hi, Danny.
how has SJ helped you?
You get a lot of support and information, and just the environment is great.
Okay. And what would you tell a new SJ student?
I would tell them to soak in all the information they could and take all of the support we give.
Okay, and then before coming to SJ, how was school for you?
It was really, really bad. I was doing really bad until I started coming to SJ.
Okay, and then how has Miss Cola helped you?
She's helped a lot between financially helping out, emotionally, and just being there overall. I love her.
Thank you.
Airlise, what makes Shared Journeys valuable to you?
Shared Journeys makes me feel like I still have a purpose, and they give me the skills, the motivation, and the encouragement that I need to be successful in high school and after high school.
Ruben, what makes Shared Journeys valuable to you?
To me, Shared Journeys is like almost like a second family. It's a really big support, especially as a teen parent. I think that, being in this situation, it's really important to have people that are in your same situation. And, being a high school student, really no one in your high school relates to you. And just having this, it's really, it's something really big for me, or for us as teen parents, because, we really have a lot of support here, so, yeah.
What makes Shared Journeys valuable?
What makes Shared Journeys valuable is that everybody here is like a family, and we all accept each other and no matter what. And we always are helping each other and trying to get everybody where they would like to be in life.
And then Danny, I think you decided to share yours this way rather than
In the video, no videos, please. I have it on my phone. I apologize. So yeah, this little speech that I made, it'll be quick. It's not. I just feel like it's not just them. Or just me that feel this way. It's everybody that comes in contact with Shared Journeys or Mrs. Cole personally. So, just gotta be careful. I don't want to lose my. Okay. I aspire to be Mrs. Cola. She has motivated me so much. She has been helping me since freshman year of high school. Before she came into my life, I never would have thought I'd make it to senior year, let alone actually graduate high school. I want to be the person she is to me and my classmates and for others. Since day one, she's given me so much hope. I attend Shared Journeys Charter School. Mrs. Cola created this high school for teen parents. All of our students are soon to be parents or parents. Both the mothers and fathers in grades 9 to 12 can attend our school. It's very cool welcoming our new students every year and being able to talk to them, student to student, and just letting them know that this is a great school. This is the school they want to be in at this moment in their life. Every student graduates from here, seeing as though Shared Journeys has a 100% graduation rate, and everyone loves to be here. We have a 96% average daily attendance rate. That is really amazing because nationwide, the average graduation rate for teen parents is roughly 45%. We see our new classmates grow and blossom just within a few weeks of being here. They talk about how great it is to be at Shared Journeys and how we impacted their lives. They are now hopeful and looking forward to what their future holds for them and their child. My teacher, Mrs. Cole, inspired me to get into teaching and possibly taking over Shared Journeys. She is caring. I'm trying. She is caring. She is caring, understanding, and devotes her life to teaching me how to be the best mom I could ever be. That's who I want to be. I've always loved helping people. Why not help teen parents like me, who are motivated to finishing school and having a career to support their growing family? Mrs. Cola pours her heart and soul into Shared Journeys. I often wonder if she sleeps. That's right. She makes every single day fun and exciting with field trips, speakers, sharing fun and helpful lessons, allowing us choices, and always being kind and believing in us. She is available to use 24/7. We can call or text her anytime, day and night, and we do. We are so fortunate to have Mrs. Cole in our lives. So from the girl who was not attending school and pregnant my freshman year to the senior who received a scholarship to attend Alverno College and become the best teacher possible, I owe a huge thank you to the best teacher ever, Mrs. Cola. We all love her.
Yeah. Can I tell them the first time I met you?
Of course.
The first time I met Danny, she was a freshman at Central High School receiving her truancy ticket, not attending, to this young woman who we can see has turned into quite the amazing woman who I do believe is going to be an excellent teacher and just do great things in her life. I'm really proud of her.
Thank you.
And that's because of the support that you
course.
all give as well, because there are many districts that so want what we have, and they come and they do site visits, and they're asking all the time how to do this and how to get what we have, and we have it. We have this beautiful thing going here, and we're just grateful because it's impacting so many wonderful students, so thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes?
Go ahead, Colin.
Who's calling? Oh, okay. First of all, Danny, I want to say you were awesome. You're a good representation of what Shared Journeys hopes to accomplish. It's never easy to get up in front of a group of people and talk, and you seem comfortable, you're funny, you're engaging, all of those things. So nothing but the best to you.
Thank you.
And just as a whole, Shared Journeys, it seems like you are having a lot of success, and that's great to see. That's why we support the program, and we just hope to see it continue.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for
I
all you do.
appreciate that.
Noah? Okay. Well, you said, the support from you, but really, I think it really comes down to you, Ms. Cullen, because I see the updates you guys have on Facebook and things, all the things that you're doing, you seem to be doing something like it seems like almost every day. And the opportunities that provided to these students is just amazing. And I think that it provides them, the educational support they need, but also the life support that they need. The most telling statistic to me is the graduation rate difference between our program here in the district and nationally. And the fact that isn't just the student we're looking at. We're looking at the students' children as well. They're now going to be set back by the fact that their parent was not able to graduate high school, and how is that going to affect them moving forward and being provided for that child. So I think it's really a pay-it-forward situation where you're helping someone in this situation be able to succeed, get the education they need, get the life skills they need, so they can not only help themselves, but then help their children. And I think that is going to only create better citizens in our community. So thank you very much for all the work that you do.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Lisa, I know you from my teacher life. When you started this, did you ever imagine it would get to this point that it's so tremendous?
No, I really didn't. I mean, I was super excited to take on this position, and we had a lot of work to do, and I have to give Joan Delaney a lot of gratitude and thanks, because she really rolled up her sleeves and helped me through that first year of writing the charter grant and building the curriculum and doing all of that work. And boy, she was a great mentor for me. So I'm really grateful to her, and I guess just excited because things just started happening and people started understanding why we were doing this and the importance of this, and seeing these young amazing people turning their lives around. It's been really great.
It's because it's easy to see the successes here, but some people don't realize the stepping stones that you had to take to get there without quitting and saying that this isn't going to work.
Well, after that first year, I kind of thought Hoover School looked pretty good again. Reading teacher at Hoover. Right back to it. So I loved that too, but I've loved everything I've done here.
But it's been great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dan?
Thank you. Lisa, I think the district, or I know the district, is fortunate to have someone like you that's actually built the program to where it is today, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Danny, you kind of touched my heart in regards to reading, because my mom used to read to me when I was a little tyke.
Yeah.
And reading is just unbelievable because it opens up the minds and the hearts of young children. And they'll never forget that, because I never forgot sitting on my mom's lap and reading and all of a sudden falling asleep. So congratulations.
Thank you.
You will be a success.
Thank
And
you.
hopefully your success will pour over into the other students that are attending Shared
I hope
Journeys.
so. I feel like that's what I try my best to do. I don't know. People look at me and they're kind of just like, dude, how are you? I'm patient, I'm kind, I'm just naturally this way. And a lot of people kind of look at me like it's too good to be true. And it's like, no, I'm this way. I don't know. So I hope that too, like talking to Mrs. Cole, I think it hasn't dawned on me that this is literally our last year, and I'm just speaking to new students that might be attending our school, and I'm kind of like telling them how it is, and I'm like, I know Mrs. Cole is a great teacher, but I don't know the students. Like, I don't know how they're going to act, and I know how I act, but I can't put hope into these kids' mind thinking that that's how it's going to be every year. So I can only hope. And then about the reading, I guess I started doing all this again
thanks to Mrs. Cole and everything that she teaches us, because she always tells us we don't have to parent the way we were parented. And that very settles on me because, like my parents like to say, I live in TV land. I wish that I grew up with the parents on TV. And I'm not saying my parents are wonderful, but, you know, they read to their children. They were on field trips. They attended mostly all the recitals, or they told someone to go in their place, and I never had that. So I guess I want my daughter to have that. So that little bond that we have of reading a book together is very special to me. So thank you. I appreciate
Welcome.
that.
Very much success to you in your future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Good job, you guys.
Thank
Best
you.
of luck
Thank
to
you.
you in the fall.
Thank you.
And beyond, look forward to having you come back maybe
Well, I
and
hope
join our staff and everything else.
For me here.
We'll hang on to it until you're ready. Yeah, you got it. It's on camera now, so it has to happen.
Thank you. Have a good night. Thanks.
Oh, that was awesome. We will go on to 7.3, the legislative update. So from the Wisconsin Department of Justice, the school safety work that they're doing, Attorney General Josh Kaul announced the release of the Wisconsin Threat Assessment Protocol and the Wisconsin Comprehensive School Security Framework, providing educators and partners a comprehensive set of policies that support school safety efforts across the state. And the press conference that was called was held right here at West Milwaukee Intermediate School. I had an opportunity to participate in that, and it was kind of interesting. They had, folks here from the Secret Service, from Washington, D.C., and I spoke with her, and they're just very interested in the work Wisconsin is doing to have kind of a united effort around school safety, which is apparently not happening in every state the same way. And Tony Evers, Governor, the budget would allow districts, if the budget is passed with this particular provision, would allow districts to rehire retired teachers. So Governor Tony Evers' budget has a provision to allow districts to bring teachers back by changing kind of the waiting period back to what it used to be. Right now it's 75 days that a former employee of a school district has to be separated. There can't be any plan in place to bring a person back. This would change it back to 30 days. And if you look at some of the data that goes along with this, according to DPI, there's 12,323 people entered a Wisconsin teaching program in 2010, but there were just 7,956 in 2016. Right? So that's a huge drop. Likewise, the number of people completing programs has dipped significantly. It was in 2016, it was 3,426, and 6 years earlier, 4,749. So this is part of the recommendations that came from the Blue Ribbon School Funding Commission to address the teacher shortage, right? So an opportunity to bring retirees back. And then also, the budget would overhaul programs for high school students who wish to take college courses. The executive budget bill proposes to repeal the current versions of the early college credit program and the technical college-based Start College Now program. They'd be replaced by new dual enrollment programs that would permit qualified high school students to be enrolled in post-secondary courses that have available space, and this is the part we like, without a charge for tuition to either the student or the local school district, which is not the case right now. The new programs would apply to courses offered by the UW system institutions and by technical colleges. So we're watching that one pretty closely. And then in district recognitions for this week, congratulations to the Central Bulldogs boys varsity basketball team again, who played in the semifinals at the Cole Center versus Sun Prairie. Technical education teacher, Ms. Tina Boyle-White, was recently profiled in Community Spotlight for All Teachers blog and reflecting on her work in computer science. And then reading teacher, Ms. Lois Ketterhagen, has retired from Central after 25 years of being a dedicated educator. The kindness, compassion, and empathy that she shows her fellow staff members and students has been an inspiration and the foundation upon which she has built her teaching career. So thank you, Lois, for all your hard work and for sharing your passion for teaching with all of us. At Frank Lloyd Wright Intermediate School, German teacher Ashley Hafman was honored with an award from the German American National Congress, the Milwaukee chapter. She was awarded with $500 for the development of her German program and the continued language learning of her students. The GANC honors German teachers twice a year for their work with the German language and culture. At General Mitchell Elementary School, Mitchell has been recognized as a Project Lead the Way Distinguished School for for providing broad access to transformative learning opportunities through its Project Lead the Way launch. Mitchell is just one of 214 elementary schools across the U.S. to receive this honor. And at Pershing, students following the EAGLE expectations of respect self, respect others, and respect the environment will be participating in an all-school field trip on March 13th, 2019, or did participate, to a Milwaukee Admirals game. This incentive field trip was led by Pershing first grade teacher Kristen Pagenkopf and the Tier 1 PBIS team. And then from Sodexo on March 20th, 2019, Sodexo held its Future Chef final competition. So first place Daisy Yang for the chicken burrito skillet at Franklin Elementary. Second place Emma Kuther, Mexican wontons from Jefferson Elementary. And third place Anila Tibbetts, pork taco from General Mitchell Elementary. And then from Communications and Community Relations, Margie Gallimore, a volunteer at Aurora West Medical Center and the chairperson for the Community Outreach Committee for the Service Club, arranged for her group to conduct a clothing drive. Clothing items are delivered to Frank Lloyd Wright Intermediate School for use in their community closet. And we appreciate that, and congratulations to all that were recognized this evening. And then 7.5, real quick, just a couple updates. There were no public comments at our March 11th meeting, so there's nothing to respond to there. We are now in the very fast part of trying to sell our properties, apparently. So the paper and the emails are flying. Right now, we're scheduled to close on Friday, March 29th, so this Friday is where we are. And the planning for beginning renovations right now, if everything stays on track, begins April 1st. So they're going to start right away on the 4th floor, and then the 7th floor, and then the other spaces that need renovation. And then at our last meeting, or the special meeting, we appreciate the board's support regarding the early teacher retirement kind of window that we opened for this year. And and I foreshadowed this a little bit last week, but as we looked more carefully at some of the language, and I think you know how confusing some of that was to try to interpret, and additional employee feedback and information that we've received, we thought it was a reasonable thing to interpret a little more broadly and we're adding 9 additional teachers into that retirement window. It produces some additional savings for the district. It doesn't mean all of them will exercise that opportunity. Some of the teachers have told us, no, they want to keep teaching, and that's good too. But I just wanted to inform the board. And then lastly, to everyone in the community and in the schools, happy and safe spring break for those traveling. We wish you safe travels, and if you're staying home, hopefully we have really great weather, because we need it. And that concludes the superintendent's report.
Excellent, thank you very much. All right, we'll move on to item 8, the board president's report. We'll take a review of the board calendar. So today is Monday, March 25th, and it's a regular Board of Education meeting. Throughout the meeting, we will have our workshop on a review of the construction plans for the new recreation center. And immediately following our meeting today, we will have a closed session meeting. On Monday, April 8th, starting at 6 p.m., we will have our regular Board of Education meeting. On Monday, April 15th, starting at 6 o'clock, we will have a college and career readiness workshop on new course proposals and resource adoption. On Monday, April 22nd at 6 p.m., we have a regular Board of Education meeting, and our elected board members will take office that day. And then we have a financial stability and efficiency workshop on the proposed 2019-2020 budget and preliminary tax levy number 1. Do any board members have any community updates or anything else they'd like to share? Dan?
Thank you. I just want to thank Sodexo and their staff for the future chefs. We had a fantastic group of young adults put themselves in the future category, and a lot of them, almost all of them, had some really good things to eat. It was very difficult this year to find a winner, but we did. I also want to thank Mitchell School. I had the opportunity to chaperone and go to a hockey game, and we had a fantastic time. I had a little boy sitting next to me that kept saying, "Get the puck, get the puck." He really enjoyed it, because every time he said it, his cheeks got redder and redder. It was just fantastic. They all had a good day, so thank you.
Heather?
I'd just like to echo Dan's sentiments that Sodexo did a great job putting on the future chefs. I got to be one of the judges again. And the kids were so amazing, and like they're looking at their plates, but it needs more color, it needs this, and I was just like, I wish I could do this, and I'm an adult and I can't cook like this. So it was just fantastic. They were just amazing, and congratulations to all of them. And like Dan said, that the scores were so close this year. There was like what, 0.5 or something between two of them.
Yes.
So it was really, really wonderful.
Great. Gary?
So I'm just gonna add to that. I wasn't a judge, but I did attend the event, and it was fun. You could just see the joy in the kids as they were able to create and present it to people, and just the satisfaction they got out of it. It was a wonderful event.
Great. Anybody else? Brian?
I just want to congratulate the Bulldogs basketball team again. I was able to make it to the game. It was a close game throughout. Really could have went either way. Just very exciting, and the amount of support that was there for the team. I actually made it to the event when they sent them off to Madison as well. And the whole thing, it was just an awesome experience, and they represented our school district well. So congratulations to them.
Great. And I want to say thank you to the NXGL team at Frank Lloyd Wright. They and their students, the 4 teachers and their students, took on the project of creating and hosting a semi-formal dance for other middle school students. And that was on Friday with minimal help, support from the PTA, and took that on, and the kids ran the dance and did all the decorating and ordered the food and figured out how much everything should cost and did all the cost-benefit analysis and put together the playlist and did all the promotion, and it was fantastic, and the kids had a really great time. So congratulations to those teachers and those students for a job well done. So, okay. We'll move on to the consent agenda. There are 6 items on the consent agenda today. Item 9.1 are the approval of the minutes from the March 11th, 2019 regular Board of Education meeting and the March 18th, 2019 special meeting. Item 9.2 is the employment summary. Item 9.3 are the supplementary contracts. Item 9.4, the financial summary. Item 9.5, approval to issue 2019-2020 regular teacher contracts to eligible teachers. And item 9.6, preliminary renewal notice to teachers. Does anyone need anything separated? If not, we'd be looking for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any additional comments or questions?
I just, one question and one comment about the financial report. Is this still being the report itself being uploaded to the website as it was previously? Yes? Okay, but it is, okay. And I just wanted to commend Caitlin, because if you looked at the financial report, it is a little bit different than it has been in the past. Instead of having all the long kind of account strings attached to it, actually has a description next to what was purchased. And that really helps as a time saver, and I think it'll be a lot more community friendly as well for those who might be perusing our financial statements. I just wanted to make note of that.
And just want to add that it's now searchable.
Oh,
Thank you,
great.
Caitlin.
Thank you.
Great. All right, we'd already had the motion. We have comments and questions. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great. All right, then we will move on to item 10, the workshop for Recreation and Community Services, the review of the construction plans for the new recreation center.
All right, good evening, and thank you for this opportunity. Hopefully, some more fun and excitement for the board and our district, as tonight we are going to be discussing and showing our building designs and floor plan layout, and the best part of it is all within budget. With me tonight is Dan Davis and Joe Hoffmeyer's back here, both from C.G. Schmidt, and then Joe Clark from Growth Design Group, who is our architect on the project. And we know we haven't been in too much communication since we last met in November, but I can tell you there's been a lot of work that has happened, and now it's getting to the time where we're ready to move forward, ready to get state approval, ready to get permits, and ready to shovel and ground. Then I also have some staff, Linda and Amanda back there from our team, who I'm sure also very excited to see this moving forward. So I'm going to actually turn it over to Dan Davis, who's going to kind of walk us through the process, the budget, a little bit about the designing and what we're all going to get, and then we're going to turn it over to Joe for the real exciting.
So we're excited to be here. Yeah, the budget is the boring part. You can say design.
It's very important.
It's a good part, though. It's very good.
Yeah, definitely important.
So So we're preparing to start the formal process to get local approvals, so we may need to come back and get your input and have you see the designs and review the budget again. If you remember, we were here in November and really just looking at a few rectangles on a sheet of paper, and that was the design. We've taken that time in between now and then to really refine everything and define the project in a lot more detail and come back to you with our design and the budget and what more we've accomplished within the budget that we had set aside since November. So it's a good message today, so we're happy to see that. So we are, and we do want to move forward, and we think that's going to be a great impact to your community that the district is offering to really improve services. So we're going to try to cover a lot. I'm going to go pretty fast. I'll pause for questions if you have them as we go through. So we're going to look at the budget and a little bit of detail there. We'll look at the goals that we had back in November and a few that we've kind of added just to remind you of what we're achieving. Specifically the spaces that are in the building. Joel's going to go through those later so you can kind of see where they are in the building relative to each other. Some of the enhancements that I mentioned, we'll go through that. How we kind of got to our number at this point, and how we've bid that through using standard board policies. Some key dates coming up, and why we still need that contingency, that buffer that we've talked about before. And then we'll have the fun part, and Joel will go through the design. So the budget that you had approved, the maximum cost back in November was $8 million, and we're proposing to stick within that at $8 million. I'll show you the pieces in a minute. And within that, there's a contingency of about $417,000. So we've used a little bit of that $500,000 for things that are enhancements, but the bulk of that is there. And at the same time, we've really mitigated a lot of the unknowns and risks that are out there. So we're in really pretty good shape. So the budget's broken down. I've got two sheets here to kind of give you a little more detail on the budget. The first four, the site preparation costs, the bulk of that, $67.5, is the utility connections for data and gas and power. And then construction costs, that's the single largest line item, but that's everything that is included that becomes part of the real estate. So it's additions, it's the site work, and the remodeling in the existing building. So you'll see what that includes as we go through the design later. You'll see those kind of room by room. The construction contingency is a straight calculation. It's $287,000. It's a percentage of the construction cost. That's part of the contingency we mentioned. Another part coming up. And then there's design reimbursables. There's a few small consultants and some plan review fees and some copying and things like that. So that's just a reimbursable line item that we have. The design, growth design fees are actually included in the construction cost because of our contract format where we hold their contract. So that's included in the 7.1 or 7.2 million. The next sheet is the next four items that make up the rest. So the owner contingency is there. There are two separate contingencies for a reason. That 130 helps for a number of reasons. We'll go through in a minute, but primarily to help with the non-construction costs, the furniture and some of the other line items that are there. Line item 6 is a bunch of different smaller items. We have soil borings that we had to do, builder's risk insurance to cover the event that something happens, a tornado blows through and blows the wall down. Surveying that we had to do, and then material testing, as well as some of the testing we did to investigate where the sewers go that literally run right underneath where the footprint of the building's going to go. So that's where those costs are covered. Equipment, it's mostly the low voltage equipment that we kept in this category. You can see the list there, all things that need to happen in order for the building to open. Interior and exterior signage, there isn't much there. There's really one post and panel sign. We don't plan on doing anything overstated, nothing big hanging off the gym or anything like that. So it's one at the front door and one at the driveway. And I think you'll see that in the site plan, so we can show you. They will need some help with moving costs, so there's a little bit of money in there for that. The biggest line item is the furniture that comes out of it. So, all right, that's kind of the summary of the budget. It's pretty quick, and we'll tell you more about the bidding process, which makes up that largest line item. The next slide shows you the goals that we're trying to achieve. I think there's a few worth calling out there. You can read those faster than I can talk, but it's a needed neighborhood community asset, and it'll be there for a long time. And I think the first reaction we got with the neighborhood meeting was really good, that they really were looking forward to this. It just has a new impact to the greater community that the district is making. It's a very visible sign that you're reinvesting in not only the day-to-day education of students, but the rest of the community as well. We've set it up such that there's future expansion capabilities to the south of the building. We'll show you that. We've really maximized the existing building usage and really getting some good space usage out of there. And then it really does consolidate all the recreation and community services in one place. And they don't want to move any more than this after this. Some of the key spaces, the track, the gym with the wood floor, early childhood, new large multi-purpose space, demonstration kitchen that's there. The spinning room is a dedicated spinning room. There's individual changing rooms. There's a very welcoming registration area, parking for larger groups, dedicated dance and exercise room. So those are the big things we're trying to accomplish. And then some of the additional enhancements, we've gone back into the existing building and they're going to upgrade their security and IT, some of their systems. The HVAC is still working, and there's some upgrades we're doing there. We've really, the design's morphed here and there, but we've created a separate early childhood entrance, which has made that service a lot more attractive, so you'll see that. Before you would have had to come all the way through the building to get there, or through the old front door, and then all of a sudden have to staff 2 spots, and so it's worked out a lot better. I mentioned a larger kitchen, and then some choices that Steve Rohde's helped with, and he's been great to choose a much more efficient heating and cooling system. So rather than have electric heat, which is really quite expensive, we've got a nice boiler system, and that's going to be a lot more efficient over time for you. And then an upgraded outdoor play space. We have included a few of the enhancements. We've met with the city 4 times to go through things at various levels, and we've already included some of those, and we'll talk about why it's not maybe the end, but you never know, but we try to capture everything we can identify, including the one they just threw at us last week about the turning around the hook and ladder, the largest truck they have. So we made it work without spending any more money.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So the budgeting and bidding process, we went out to 94 bidders to, in various work categories, we call them, or a trade. So the plumbing is one work category. We had 8 that were within the district. Some that we use quite a bit. There's Masters Controls here in the district. Roman Electric we went out to, State Paintings, another one, and a handful of others of all sizes. Those are the bigger ones. And we bid out all the large projects per the guidelines you have to get 3 bids. And then we take those and we do an apples-to-apples comparison. So we make sure that the numbers that we use and the bids that we include in this budget now, in this guaranteed price, are vetted, so we don't have surprises later. And we include the lowest qualified number in the total. We've gone out to 27 trades and gotten hard bid proposals, so that represents 90% of the cost. There's still some choices left to make. We haven't chosen the color of the carpet. We have some cabinetry there. We haven't gotten all the details done. We haven't chosen the exact ceiling tile. So some of that's still going to get chosen, and then a few trades still get bid out once those are nailed down. So there is a little bit left to do. So the number is rock solid as it stands. Any questions about that process at all?
Did you have any issue with any of the trades with, we had discussed Foxconn and the effect that could have on our ability to be able to schedule something like this. Was there any issues with a particular category or another, or was it pretty
Not really. I mean, I don't think Joe can answer that better. Joe's been going through all the bids, and I think there were fairly good coverage.
Sure. Okay, sure, yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah, we didn't notice it. I mean, the Foxconn delay, or whatever they are calling it now, or the pause, has really kind of helped. So
good. Let's get it in.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll that's part of hopefully the process tonight, so we can get going. The timeline, and I'll wrap it up pretty quick. There's a few key dates for you to know. They're on here, they're a little hard to see, so I'm just gonna go through those real quick. We do have a meeting set up with the mayor and the alders to review the plan, assuming that everything goes through tonight, just so they get a quick glimpse and they know what's going on. The day after that, there's a deadline to submit to the city with the plan commission submittal. Then next week at 6 p.m. on the 3rd of April, we have a neighborhood meeting, similar format. We're going to show them a lot of what we're showing you tonight. We'll leave out, a lot of the introduction that I'm doing, but really about the design and what we're trying to accomplish. With that, the Plan Commission would tentatively be set for the 24th of April. And that's assuming that they can get us onto their agenda, but I think we'll be fine based on what they've told us so far. And then that will lead to a mid-May Common Council meeting, and then once that's done, we can apply for permitting, and it takes them 2-3 weeks on average for their plan review. And so that would lead to a early to mid-June construction start. And that's good because it gets us in the ground, it gets us out of the ground, and mostly enclosed before the snow starts flying again. So we're in good shape that way. And then we'd be completing the building next spring, late spring, probably close to the end of the school year, but around there sometime. Okay, one last slide before we get to look at the design. So here's some reasons we do need the contingency. There are, things that the Plan Commission is within their rights to ask you to do. There's a handful of them. None of them are overwhelming. And it's unlikely they'd tell us all 5 of them. We have fencing upgrades. We've already done some. I can't imagine they'll up that, but I've seen it happen. Facade enhancements. We've already changed from what was exterior cementitious fiber cladding, which is very durable, to brick. And so we really upgraded the exterior for durability and longevity already. So, but they can still come back with some stuff once in a while. Additional landscaping is a very common thing they ask for. We have increased that budget just to cover that eventuality. Exterior lighting changes, we are required to submit a photometric layout to make sure that the lot line doesn't receive any more light than it's allowed by ordinance. So that's all in the process getting prepared. We don't see any issue with that, but sometimes if we put the wrong kind of lighting on the side of the building, they want us to change that so it's not shining in the neighbor's eyes. And then rooftop unit screening. So the HVAC units on the roof, sometimes they'll ask for some additional screening. We have screening, that we're, you can attach to the units, which is quite inexpensive. Right now, a lot of them you can't see from Arthur Avenue. If you drive by, they're so far up on the, because they're up 6 or 7 feet from Arthur Avenue. A lot of them you can't really see. So we're not sure how they're going to react to that yet. So those are some reasons. We do have soft soils there, but our budgets now include what we call rammed aggregate piers. They're essentially cylindrical holes that we pound large stone into down through the bearing soil. And so that we've got covered. But there's always the potential for something else there, or if you find an old tank. There's no reason to believe it's there, but it could happen. Existing building foundation repair costs. Some of you may have heard there's a few cracks in the building there. It's just in one room, in the spinning room. Our engineers looked at it. It's the foundation isn't moving. It's just the slab inside the room. So in the worst case scenario, we have to mud jack that slab if it's still moving. We've installed strain gauges on the crack. We're watching that now. It does take a few months to actually get to see if that's moving at all. And so even that cost would not even come close to really kind of depleting that whole contingency that's laying there. And we may just leave it. I mean, it's really, at this point, we may just patch the cracks. If they come back with the right answer, it's aesthetic, nothing else. And then some ability to reuse existing office furniture. We really haven't designed the furniture yet. That's another design detail. Shelley's been very open that they do have a bunch of office furniture that they can reuse, but some just won't work because the new offices are uniform, and some fit in bigger offices. You'd have to literally saw them off, and that doesn't really work. So we're going through that. That's kind of a next step, and we've got time to work through that. So, and there's a few other minor things that come up, but this is, if all of this happened, even that wouldn't deplete the whole contingency at this point. So we're very confident that we're in good shape that way. Okay, any other questions before we let Joe take over? the other PowerPoint here. And there's a fair number of slides here, but we'll go through as quickly as we can.
I guess I do have one question.
Sure.
In your interactions with the city, have they been pretty excited, amenable, happy?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but we already met with the alderman last year, in October. They were very supportive. The mayor has been very supportive. The staff have been very good. They'll point out things along the way, and we have added some things into the project, but generally speaking, no, they've been very supportive and not obstructionist, and they've helped us through the process. Because it is a little bit unusual. It's a conditional use that doesn't conform to the current ordinances and zoning.
Right.
So it's a little bit of a navigation that you have to get through, but they've been very helpful.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right. Well, it's been a big build-up, so.
Where's the fireworks?
You don't need a drum roll?
There are a lot of slides highlighting different areas as we go through this, but it should go pretty quickly. Starting out with the site plan, just to give an overall sense of things, this is the current boundary, so the entire block except for the northwest corner.
You may want to look at the big screen. If you turn around and look, it may be better. But
and we're going to blow up just the southern part of the site because we're really not touching that north end. So on this south end of the site, we've got the existing building. We've got the early childhood play area. It's a fenced area outside of that. The new construction, a space for future expansion where we've got a number of different classrooms mapped out there. The new parking for about 85 stalls. That was something that was discussed with the city, that by ordinance there should be more stalls, but everyone agreed that that really wasn't the right application for this site. We don't need it programmatically, so this is the number that everyone is feeling is the best way to do this. There is a space mapped out for the future for a garage and storage building. We do have a dumpster enclosure and a stormwater bioswale area. And one of the keys was maintaining the access between our new building and that north part of the site, so we get good circulation back and forth. The grading plan, this is the topographic site plan showing the 1-foot contour increments. That retention area that we talked about, that's in that corner, so it's a slight depression on the site. That's an area that is there to catch water in the large storm events, but the intent is not to have water standing there for long periods. It filters and disperses that water. One of the big features, grading-wise, is that we're removing the current retaining wall, running around most of the south part of the site. So you'll see the grade is now a gentle slope from our building down to the sidewalk at the existing sidewalk height. From the landscape plan, starting with fencing, we do have the fenced area around that early childhood area for safety and security. That is an area that the city would like to see a more decorative fence, not just go with chain link. So that's what we have budgeted there. We do have a dumpster enclosure that will get fencing around that. Currently, we're looking at a wood, sort of a shadow box type setup for that, which hopefully will meet the city's requirements. The existing chain link that runs on the residential properties will be staying, but other than that, all the fencing around the perimeter of the site, there for the ball field, is being removed, so it'll be a very open and inviting site. Around the building, we're providing landscape foundation plantings. Right now, those are just put in to meet the ordinance requirements, and as Dan mentioned, that's something that the city could come back and ask for more, but we're starting with meeting the ordinance and see where we need to go beyond there. At the parking lot, we have fairly extensive landscape plantings to the west to help screen the parking lot from the street, and then also to the north on the fence that's vine covered right now. Those are coming down, being replaced with more substantial arborvitaes along there that'll provide good screening. And here the city so far has been great to work with. One of the things that Steve Rohde was really trying to do was not have landscape plantings in the parking area because it makes it so much more difficult to maintain and snowplow. So we've upped the landscape plantings around the perimeter on this west and north side to offset that. So again, it's not entirely how the ordinance is intended, but we feel we're meeting the overall goals for the city. And then in that bioswale area, that's more of a prairie grass planting, so a natural setup, and it should keep kids out of there as well. And then as we blow up the plan of the actual building construction, this is the floor plan of the currently proposed building. Over on the left is the existing building, the right is our addition. And if we start at the main entrance, the red arrow coming in from the top, that's through our secure vestibule that leads right to our lobby and reception desk for a nice control point, giving good control that people can't just duck past it to get into the rest of the facility. But from that point, we have really good access into the gymnasium, pretty much direct access through this access area, sort of a little almost mini locker room. It's got cubbies, benches, and hook strips on the sides. A great spot to drop off bags and shoes as you get changed so they don't clutter up the gym floor. We actually have 2 of those. We need another exit from the gym. This one is down by the locker rooms, and this can work if there are 2 teams. They can each have one of these spaces and kind of add a mini locker area. The gym itself is set up with standard middle school size full basketball court in the main court area and volleyball. Plus it has cross courts for basketball and volleyball. The cross court baskets are slightly reduced in length, but they are full middle school width. With a generous out of bounds. It's a nicely sized gym. We do have the running walking track up above. That's accessed by an elevator, so you can get up there with strollers, walkers, whatever impediment you might have to be able to get good access to that. Again, conveniently located right by the main entrance. Leads up to a nice mezzanine area that leads onto the track, so a chance to get ready before you head out onto it. And that's also accessed by that main stair up at the front desk. So again, that good control, people coming in with convenient access to those major amenities. We do have a second stair off of that running, walking track for emergency exit to deal with that. And then also on that east side of the building, we've got a lower mass of storage, both outdoor storage and gym storage. That lower mass helps us bring the scale down of the building from the tall gym to a smaller building as we head toward the residential areas. So trying to be respectful of the scale of the community. Then we have our dance and fitness space, again with a sprung wood floor, as Dan had mentioned, mirrored wall. It should be a very practical space for those functions. We have men's and women's toilet rooms. We have a family toilet room. Plus we've got the 2 changing areas, each with individual cubicles.
Per gender, yeah.
Yeah, 1 per gender with 2 cubicles on each side. We have a multi-purpose meeting room, large format, very versatile. Not quite the athletic feel to it, more of a space similar to this, nicely dealt with floors and ceiling. Can accommodate some between 160 and 200 people at the table seating, or more than that just in chairs for a presentation. It's tied directly into the kitchen space, so there is a serving window through directly from the kitchen to that, and from the kitchen to the hallway, so it can serve other functions if you have other classes going that need that kitchen space, or to be able to use it independently for demonstration. Storage mechanical room. And then the offices are set up with great visibility out to see people coming and to oversee the desk. They are also clustered around a central work area. So the walls there around that aren't full height. One of the things Shelley really wanted was a collaborative feel to these offices. So the central work room will really help the communication between all of the offices. There's a conference room to serve the offices, plus it's accessible from the hallway side, so it can serve other needs on the public side as well. All of the offices but one have direct daylight and windows, and that last office is set up that it's got an interior window into the second vestibule, and that office is slated for the early childhood person. And that vestibule is the early childhood entrance, so it's a great visibility to see The early childhood kids coming into that area, that's set up with cubbies, taking off the boots, keeping the clutter out of the early childhood area itself.
That was the second entrance I talked about before. It's going to work a lot better.
So this space is where we have the early childhood. It's got the entrance to the north and then the direct connection out to the fenced play area to the south. We also have cut new windows in on that south side just to get more daylight, make that a nicer feeling space. The existing toilet rooms are getting reworked to be dedicated toilet rooms for early childhood in this location. We're also taking over the old kitchen, removing the equipment. That serves as storage for early childhood. The space to the north is being left pretty much untouched as a multi-purpose space. Could serve a number of uses. Still looking to find the best use of that, but I think there are a lot of different things that could lean itself to. We're moving the teen room from the second floor down to the main level where the current office reception is. That leaves us so that our entire second floor can be left for just storage and mechanicals. We don't need any public access up to that at all. The Survive Alive room is being left pretty much as is, apart from the entire building is getting sprinklered, so there will be some work in there just to deal with that. The other bank of toilets in there are getting converted to a men's and women's toilet room to serve this end of the building. So we've got great distribution of toilet rooms. And then the spin room, which will be currently a dedicated spin room, opening up one of the doors that's currently there on the west side to turn that into a window, just to get a little more daylight into that space. And then down to the bottom right, that's that area that was slated for the future potential expansion. So on the exterior, this is what the building is currently looking like. The top view is the north, what we're calling the entry elevation. So that's facing to the north, to the parking lot, and to the rest of Fairview Park. The middle image is the east side, so that's facing 67th Street. And then the bottom view is the south elevation, so that's looking down onto Arthur Street with the drop-off down to street level. The main entrance is there to the center of that north elevation. And then the offices in that brick in between. The new gym is the precast wall panels, but we've got a lot of windows punched into that, especially you'll see up on the second floor. So that's for the walking track, so that you get great daylight in there and some sense of better connection to the outside. The treatment of the concrete exterior, we're looking to balance that with the other large mass of the existing building by painting that a complementary color. So the two large masses are complementary on the ends, and then the brick through the rest of the building helps kind of weave those pieces together and ties them together nicely. And we have a preliminary fly-around of the space, and starting with the site plan. And then we'll circle around, so again, north is up, and we start moving around the building. See those white boxes on the roof are the current anticipated locations and approximate sizes for rooftop units. You'll see once we get down to street level, you don't actually even see those. So we'll be interested to see if the city is going to require us to do any additional screening. Coming around over the parking lot and looking at the front view of the building. And existing to the right, then everything new to the left. You can just make out to the left in that grassy area the depression of the stormwater bioswale area. The lower mass on that east side, so that the gymnasium isn't quite as massive to the neighbors to the east. And then as we get down to street level, going along that south elevation, looking up the hill a little bit to the building, and not seeing those rooftop units that are still turned on in these views, you just can't see them. That's the multipurpose room in the middle in the brick, the fenced play area for early childhood. Moving up the side of the existing building where we've opened up that additional window. Moving past the proposed sign location, and along the front of the building, approaching the main entry, going past that early childhood entrance, and stopping at the main entrance to the building without a pause. So we can circle back on any of that if there are any of those views that you'd like to see in more detail. But that is a quick overview of the current design.
I just want to bring up that Christine and I, when we were on the committee, Christine had asked about how big of a space, if needed, for paramedics on a stretcher. And it's already been designed by you and thought of that there is enough room for the stretcher.
In the elevator, yeah.
In the elevator. So other schools have gone ahead and not done it that way, had to rip down things. So I was happy that Christine brought that up to our attention. I just have to say it's really a relief to be able to see a group like C.G. Smith and your other organizations be able to give us something that we can go, oh yeah, this is great. It didn't seem to have too many stumbling blocks, and I think that you've covered all your bases, dotting your I's, crossing your T's. I can't wait to see what the community is going to say about this, because this is something great for West Dallas. It really is. Long time in coming. Thank you.
Thank you.
So all the playground equipment is staying then where it currently is located? Okay.
Yeah, the back fenced-in part for our preschool program will just be a dedicated play space for
Okay.
now. More of an asphalt area where they can take the little trikes and cars and
Right.
Water play and sand play out. Yeah.
Okay.
Is this air conditioned and heated? Or
Yes.
just heated? Both? Okay.
Yep.
And then for the proposed possible expansion, is there any work that's going to be done to prepare that site so that the expansion would basically involve just the removal of walls, I presume, as well? So like all the soil work will be done for that, or would that have to be done if we did expand?
It's pretty, those additions would be standalone by themselves. The electrical service is big enough to handle those.
Okay.
And there'll be connections there for that, but everything else would be pretty much part of the addition project.
Okay.
So it would have its own HVAC unit, for example.
I see, okay.
So nothing's upsized. You're not really spending anything now.
Right,
That you're
okay.
kind of gambling that you might put in, 5, 8, 10 years down the road.
Sure.
So that was a decision we made, not to spend a bunch of money on things, something that might never happen.
Sure, okay, all right.
But the parking, wouldn't have to change necessarily.
Okay.
The big things like that, we made sure that was big enough for the expansion.
And things like landscaping, we didn't put along there, just
Right.
because we didn't want to have to tear it out if the addition went ahead.
Right.
The city may come back and want to see landscaping there.
Okay.
But it was intentionally set up not to because of that future expansion potential.
Okay, okay. We can explain that to them if they
We'll
can still
try.
say, they can still say no, but at least we can say, well, this is trying to save money.
That's a good obvious point we will bring up.
Okay.
One of the other things, in part, the last meeting we were at with the city, also the fire department was represented and the police department from a security and kind of user. The fire department pointed out on that south side, we would have to be careful about landscaping, because if they do have to pull a truck up or run a hose, they gotta be able to get there without having to go
Yeah.
through. So that'd be something, if they do require it, we'd have to come back and work through it.
Okay.
But even, I just want to point out the hallway, the way the hallway is cut in that area would make it easy that once we put on an addition, you could easily add, just extend the hallway there to the new part, so.
Yeah, really don't have to rip anything off the building, or, a couple doors, really, that's about it.
Sure.
Would the design of the roof allow for future solar? Is that something we want to do?
We haven't looked at that. That's a good question. The way they're getting designed these days, they're a lot lighter, but we could look at that. I don't know how much it would take, and it depends how much you're doing. We would probably do it on the lower roof, not the gym. That gym with the long span probably would be a larger premium to do that. But that's a good point. We'll look into it.
What are we looking at signage-wise, like a digital, fun, Dectronic kind of thing? Or are we looking at just putting in letters or just saying the rec department?
Right now, the plan is just like a monument sign that points out who we are, but that'll depend as we go through the process, the type of funds we have available and availability to run electric, and then what the city will allow, because we do kind of have a short space there. But we more want something that identifies us. I don't know how many people because 68th is a pretty major thoroughfare, and on a bus route, how many people will actually be able to slow down enough to read a sign?
Right.
And you do have neighbors right across the street, so a LED flashing sign might be something they would show up and ask about.
Noah?
For that water retention area to help to deal with stormwater, you mentioned about planting prairie-type grasses in there. Is there any thought to, try to make it like a butterfly or, something that's specific that would attract certain things to kind of, might provide other offerings that the rec department could include?
Yeah, we
as
talked
part
about,
of that?
it'll primarily be plants that are native, so the maintenance of them will be
Minimal.
low, but that is something we'll have to look at in hiring someone to help support the facility in terms of custodial, that they'll have knowledge and experience on, there's some maintenance involved with bioswales, but yeah, we would look at what would be best to incorporate that could attract things we want to attract and not
Right.
rodents and critters, yeah.
Right, yeah, like, honeybees and
Right,
butterflies.
butterflies, yeah.
People love that sort of stuff, so.
Yeah.
I think in our conversation on our committee meeting, we had talked about how this could be of value to students also, in regards to biology and things of that nature that would work really well with it, so.
Any additional comments or questions for our group? No? We'll move on to the action item. First one. Item 11.1 is the contract with C.G. Schmidt.
So tonight we are asking for the board to take action to authorize Dr. Lexman and/or myself, and that's dependent on if the contract requires one signature, two signatures. And it's called the Standard Design Build Agreement and General Conditions between the district, who is the owner, and our design builder, who is C.G. Schmidt, as prepared by C.G. Schmidt and reviewed by District Legal Counsel.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved and approved and seconded. Any additional comments or questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, onward we go to that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we're excited too.
Fantastic.
When do we get the gold shovels out?
Yeah, what is the shovel? Yeah, when do we get
We'll
the
plan
shovel?
that,
Get
yeah.
shovels, hats.
As soon as we have that permit, yeah, we'll get it to you. We have the shovels.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we will then go on to action item 11.2, the girls hockey co-op.
So this is a new one for us, and it involves, as you can see it from the paperwork, a number of schools. But we have a student that's particularly interested. Noah asked a good question about cost related to this. Does this add any cost? And the way this is structured right now, the cost of participating is about $1,700 per athlete, but that's would be essentially the athletic fee for participating in this hockey co-op. And so that would be the responsibility of the family. But it is quite a bit less than if you go into kind of the private clubs to participate. And so I think it's a cool thing to add. One of the things that I mentioned to Noah in the email exchange was that, should the board in the future ever adjust athletic fees tied to free or reduced lunch, well, that might change that, but that's kind of where we are right now with the cost of this being the responsibility of the family.
And then are there any plans to promote within the schools to allow for more students should they want to? Other than the student who initially showed the interest, but would we, with disclosing the cost, try to promote to recruit additional students?
So I don't know the answer to that, but I think Justin Marion, who is advocating for this, I think he's doing some really interesting work at Central, and I think he would definitely want to get the word out further.
Okay. That'd be exciting to see if we could feel part of the co-op team and, be some really fun things. But the Badger women's hockey team just won nationals again.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
there's a lot of interest in women's hockey here in the state of Wisconsin, so. All right, any comments? If not, we'd be looking for a motion.
Move to approve 11.2 girls hockey co-op.
All right, then seconded.
Second.
Any additional comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, onward we go with that. Okay, if we take a quick break while we take down the cameras and get ready for our executive session, we are at recess till 7:39.